Hey y'all, spent the day making masks and yesterday thinking about them. I have a new favorite material for making masks. It's the same pattern as my previous video, and I'll be adding children's size patterns and a beard pocket pattern tonight. So those will be available. This is Coleman's children's size mask. This is my new favorite material. It's a Pure Clean multi-purpose towel. These were at Lowe's. There are 36 and they were like $14, $15 for the pack. Why I like them, here's one. They are a microfiber, so it's fuzzy on one side and kind of a stiff fiber on the other. It actually says that it leans better and absorbs faster than microfiber. Pure Clean cloths remove 99% of pathogens dead or alive, including norovirus, listeria, E. coli, MRSA, and salmonella. So it's at least got one virus on the list. And it's a stiffer fiber. I made the first mask that I made out of the microfiber towels that are normal and the Filtrete filters, the 1500s. It's a polyester style material, but there were some concerns that maybe it had that was fiberglass. I tested it, it is not fiberglass. It doesn't say it's fiberglass on its website, and it melts. Hold the candle up to it, it melts. Fiberglass does not melt. Sand doesn't melt with a candle flame. But I don't like it because it irritated my skin after I wore the mask for a long time yesterday. That could simply be because I have super sensitive skin and I'm allergic to the world. All right, these are my new favorites. Here's a drop test. So we've got a cotton. I've got 2 layers of the material and a cotton again on the back. In this case, I've put the 2 fuzzy sides together on the material. So this is like a sample of the finished mask. Drop a drop. It's gonna take it a second for that to go in. Once it does, so you can see how the cotton helps, but it doesn't stop it. Now it's gone in. It's gone into that layer. It's touching that layer, but it's only just briefly touching the outer edges of that layer, and it is not coming through to this white cotton. So it's coming through a little bit, but it's holding that barrier right there. So that's awesome. Making these masks, I've come up with some new method that makes it a little bit easier. One is getting it on there. Come closer. Here's your towel. It's not quite square. To get the most out of this, use this cut pattern. When I'm finished, this length is 7 and this is the 12-inch length of this towel. The chin portion of your mask, this is the top of the face, this is the nose. The chin goes in the corner down here. The reason for that is once I cut this out, I'm gonna have this shape. Then I can open this shape up and I can get one more mask out of this space. That's the only way I've found to be able to get as many masks out of the material as possible. So that gets you 2.5 sides out of each piece of paper, each piece of towel. Then once you have your pieces cut, here's how you're gonna do your sandwiches. This mask becomes reversible, which is kind of fun. Here's my diagram. Isn't it pretty? Your terry cloth has a pile. So there's the fuzzy side and there's the flat side. This is the flat side, and these jiggy things, that's the fuzzy side. So you want to put your fuzzy side down. Then you want your 2, this is the front face of your fabric or the right side of your fabric. That's the side that looks good. You want to put the right side up next in your sandwich. And then you're going to follow your rule, your right sides together. So now your right side's going to go down. And then your flat side and your fuzzy side up. Then you'll sew the nose seam. And that takes you to here. So here's my nose seam is sewn. Now I have one side of my mask done. I'm gonna pin elastic cross here. I don't want it directly on the corner. I've got it in a shy inch from this side. And on the base, I want it at that first corner. So on the pattern, this is a rugged pattern I've used a lot. There's a sharp edge here and a corner here. These are gonna fold together. When you're finished, these pieces are gonna fold together like this. I want that piece of elastic to stick out beneath the corner. So I want it away from the edge. Now, when I've done that and I've got my other piece done, I'm using a shy 1/4 inch seam here. Now I've got my fabric pinned, and I've got this one. I'm again gonna put right sides together, and I'm gonna sew across that top seam. And then I'm gonna sew across the bottom seam. This is where I make mistakes. I wanna sew from just the interior of the elastic to the other side of the elastic. I just wanna sew from there to there. Might double lock over that elastic. I don't wanna sew this section. So it's just a very short seam, and then you turn it. Here it is before turning. Gone over the elastics. And then I'll turn it. After I turn it, this will be open, and I'll be able to eventually fold this up. And I won't have so much thickness here. Your next step after you turn it is to sew a casing along the top seam all the way across the top of the bridge. All the way across the top. Then you put the wire in. Wires. These are a copper wire from the hardware store. It's folded in half, and the two ends are bent in. This then is threaded up into this casing and lands between, from elastic to elastic. This one already has it in it. Now I can use this to adjust the bridge of my face and make it really match the top side of my eyes. Once you reach this point, wire's in, and the elastic is done. Now you're gonna fold it. You can choose which side of this mask you like to be the front, but they'll be reversible, so it won't matter too much. The only thing that's gonna be different from side to side is which way they get folded. Oops. I fold from the edge to here, and this here. Pro tip. My bottom layer comes to my seam. It doesn't come all the way up because I end up with a lot of layers right here if it does. So this keeps the layers through my machine a little simpler. Then I get a casing piece. I've cut a bunch of them. Make sure your elastic stays out of the way. I generally sew my base down first on the machine, then I can fold it up easily. Tuck these around, tuck this around, and this is a lot easier if it's been stabilized with some stitching. Fold it again, and fold it up and in. Alternatively, you could try to keep that fold stable with pins and just sew it one time. And that brings you to a finished mask. If you are lucky and happen to have seam binding laying around, you could just use seam binding over this. Tuck the edges in and close it up with seam binding. That would be totally easy. This is a bias tape seam binding. The other variation I have is how to hold this on your head. We have found that even if we make the ears really tight, what ends up happening is they just slide off my kids' ears and my ears because we have little ears. But we can attach a ribbon to the back. This then can stretch to slip over the head, but it holds it really firmly right across the base of the head. But we're all running out of elastic. And I realized I do have a stash of this 1/4 inch elastic. Most of us are running out of it. You don't have to use the elastic here. We can do these earpieces with ribbon, make them a little bit bigger than you would make your elastic, or make them big enough. I cannot find the end of my ribbon. Use your a ribbon for earpieces, and they'll fit over this way. Then, attach to those earpieces elastic across the back of the head. This way, this can stretch, to put it on over your head. It'll hold your ribbon on, and a lot of us who sew have inch elastic. You can still find inch elastic at Walmart, but you can't find the 1/4 inch stuff anywhere. Here is my really cool son, and he's modeling a child's mask. We did the ear thing over his ears, and see it's deforming his ears. So we attached that ribbon back here under his head, and is it more comfortable?
Yeah.
And is it going anywhere? Shake your head. It's not going anywhere. And it's really secure to his face and nose, and it pulls it up so it stays tight to his chin.